What's up, Grey's fans? Ghosts and skeletons are coming out of the closet with this explosive episode. Season 13, episode 23. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, Grey's fans? Thanks for tuning in tonight. Everybody in the live chat, thank you for, tuning in. Leave your comments below. We love interacting with you guys. And this episode, I know you guys have a lot of opinions on it. I know my panel does.
Yes, we do.
I am your host, Timothy Michael. You can reach me on all social media platforms at I am Timothy Mike. Make sure you follow AfterBuzz at AfterBuzz TV. And I am joined two lovely, beautiful ladies. Go ahead and introduce yourself, guys.
Yes, I am Shannon Bobo. You can follow me everywhere at Shannon Bobo.
And I'm Lynneisha, and you guys can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Lynneisha_33.
Awesome, you guys, this episode.
Oh, yeah.
First thoughts.
OMG.
Right?
Yes.
This is like, that used to be their hashtag or whatever. Like, this was the OMG moment episode.
What did you think, Shannon?
OMG.
Right?
OMG, that's the best way. Like, maybe the Usher, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like the Usher version.
Right?
It was crazy.
Obviously, we have a lot to talk about, but let's take it a little slow. Mm-hmm. Just talking about the beginning of the episode. Things are starting to get hot and heavy with some couples. I'm glad they kind of like introduced that. Mm-hmm. They talked about the kids.
We saw the kids.
We saw the kids.
We saw the kids. They
Minus the baby, but still, we saw the kids.
We're closer.
Yeah. Right.
And then there was this moment with Owen, and two officers approaching his door. Did anybody see that coming?
Well, in the previews, I kind of sensed that, but I wasn't sure what the after effects was going to be. But,
Right.
it was kind of like a normal day, and the way he blinked out, I was like, what? For the longest, we didn't know what to expect, what was going on still. I felt like it was such a good cliffhanger.
It was.
Yeah.
Because they brought the chaplain too, so to me that automatically means like, oh, okay, maybe they found her body.
Right.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
But I was like, but then they haven't really said anything, so I'm confused. What's going on?
Right.
Is she alive or isn't she?
Right. And here's the thing with Owen that I'm worried about.
Okay.
Because Owen has suffered from PTSD for years. Obviously, he suffered with Christina. They had to go through therapy for it. He had that like choking thing with her. And obviously, that just doesn't go away overnight.
No.
How do you guys think? And we saw that the news obviously is shocking. You guys would be shocked too.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
sure.
You wouldn't even know how to. I can't even imagine because he's lived a lifetime. Imagine what can happen in 10 years.
Right.
I mean, I'm looking back at Tim, like so much has happened.
Right.
Like lifestyle changes, friend, he's been married twice, all sorts of things have happened.
What do you guys think about how he was handling it in the beginning? Just kind of shutting down and just being disoriented.
Yeah, it wasn't the best because he was.
Yeah.
He wasn't really, he was holding that in, so he was letting it out in other ways.
Yeah.
Like with the baby that came in and told, even though he saved the baby for him to, and I know you have to be a little forceful, but I think it was a little too much. And the way he addressed the parents afterwards, like that's not like Owen at all.
Yeah.
Like next time call the ambulance. That's not like him.
Yeah. Did we think that the parents were going to go a different route, just talking about the baby?
I thought it was a little anger because it's like, I was like, is that the man at the end that's going to, because it's such a, remember at the end we saw Stephanie with a man, and I was like, well, we couldn't really see. So at first I thought, I was like, does he somehow start getting angry at Stephanie? And then I was like, but why would this dad get mad at the kid? So it was a lot of cliffhangers. It was well written, and I was just kind of like, whoa, what's going on throughout the whole episode?
Yes, and I'm glad you touched on that. Well written, well directed. Lynneisha pointed out that the actor who plays Owen Hunt directed this episode, so good, congrats to him, because this episode left us, like you said, in that OMG moment. When it comes to Owen's PTSD, just circling back to that really quick, when he gets the news, when he tells Amelia, because were you guys surprised that Amelia was the one to comfort him?
Yes, but it needed to happen. That's his wife.
No.
Right. I feel like yes and no, because they are estranged, but at the same time, that's your wife, so you have this relationship. So even though you guys might be going your separate ways in this moment, that may be the only person you may trust to tell this information to or to open up to.
Yeah, no, I kind of felt the same way, because I was like, after that moment in the elevator that they had like 2 weeks ago, where it was like this awkward, okay, I'm only going to be here with you because you're crying, and then that's it. I was a little surprised that Owen went to Amelia and confided in her for that.
Really?
Yeah.
Who else does he have?
That's what I was trying to
I was like, he doesn't have Nathan. He's not that close with him. He's not close with anybody really right now. So, I mean, Amelia's and she sensed that because she knows that's out of line and out of character, the way he treated the parents and the way he beat the kid. I was just like, well, I was like, no, if this baby dies, because he was pretty forceful.
I mean, it was forceful, but he saved the baby.
He saved the baby at the end,
obviously. Do we like how he confessed in that way to Amelia about his sister? Because it was very, like you said, there's a lot of cliffhangers in this episode, but I thought the one cliffhanger that was a little overdone when he was like, oh, Megan, they found her, and she was like, at least you can have peace. Yeah. And then he's like, no, they found her alive. I'm like, what if you have just said, they found her, she's alive?
That wasn't acted well, I thought. Like, personal. Like, I was just like, because because I was like, he didn't give information. He didn't say they found her dead. They didn't say that. And the way he was acting, you would think that,
found her dead?
Yeah, possibly. He found her dead, the way he was behaving. Like, that there's some sort of closure, but he does get closure, but it's the opposite of what all of us have assumed. Like, he even said he's moved on. Like, all this time, his sister was in a basement somewhere being tortured.
Right. And so that was another thing, because, I mean, we'll touch up on it later, but we had said, he's gone 10 years. He's moved on with his life.
Married twice.
Meanwhile, his sister is being held, possibly tortured, probably tortured. It's just, that would be like heart-wrenching.
Right. It is. To think that you gave up and that you weren't watching for your family.
That's the thing, and I think he's starting to feel guilt, and also he was trying to process the information. Like, 10 years is a long time, and I don't know at what point did they finally say, because they were looking for her because she was missing at first, to the point where they just got to, well, at this point she must be dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you accept that and move on with your life only for it not to be true.
Yeah, that's weird. I would
could never imagine going through that.
And it was, I mean, they did, Camille's just making a point, they did make it too big of a deal for her to just be dead after all that time.
I agree.
So, but what were they doing for 10 years? Like, not discovering her, not finding her? Like, what was happening in 10 years? Like, was the government not, there's so many things that's like...
I mean, let's think back though. I mean, Megan supposedly died in a plane in a helicopter crash.
Yes.
So I'm assuming that they thought that she was dead, and then they didn't even look for her body. But I guess maybe she was alive, and I'm sure they'll go into her backstory and what happened. But my guess is that she, crawled away from the wreck and then got. But I think
that was the whole thing, and that was the whole thing with Nathan and Owen against each other, because it was like, well, they never looked for the body, and they knew they didn't find the body. Yes, this crash happened, but they didn't have evidence of her body, whether she was dead or alive at that time.
Right.
So, and I think, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it was Nathan that wanted to fight for finding her at the time. Right. Yeah.
So that makes it really awkward for Nathan and Gray. Ooh.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see how he's going to react, knowing see, I was trying to look for her. You know what I mean?
I'm excited to see how, I'm excited to see how Riggs reacted. What I loved about this episode also is I love when they always bring back older characters. And I just have to talk about Teddy really quick, because Amelia calls Teddy because apparently Megan's being held in a German hospital, and Teddy's over there. And she convinces Teddy to transfer Megan to Grace Sloan. But I love that Amelia, who is Owen's future wife, is talking to his ex-lover about his sister. Like, how twisted can you get?
It's so twisted. But hey, things got to get communicated and done, so... And it's soon to be ex-wife. We don't know the story with that.
Well, so, yeah, I mean, I think this is going to
be a little awkward.
I think this is going to bring them closer, you guys.
Yes.
No, they should be done. They should be done. Have your moment, support each other through the hard times.
I guess that's more of
a one. If you're not going to have a child, then give that man a child. Then she still doesn't want kids.
I agree with that.
I think sometimes people get caught up in that in relationships. Like, you may go through something, oh, you're here for me, this means we should be together. No. That person is just there to comfort you in that moment.
Yeah,
absolutely agreed.
Do we think that this Megan being alive is going to impact the relationship between Riggs and Meredith?
How could it not?
Yeah, I know. I definitely.
I mean, it's definitely like, imagine if somebody. I can't even imagine. Well, I just can't even imagine any ex-boyfriend. They ain't got no chances. But if it's somebody that you weren't really broken up with, and then they came back to life,
yeah. But at the same time, I think Meredith will be understanding. If Riggs needs time, if he wants to explore whatever he chooses to do with Megan, because, like she said, if it was Derek, I would want to know now.
That's so true.
When she found out he didn't know yet.
And I almost feel like Meredith kind of like pre-told the story, because she was waiting for the other shoe to drop. Guess what, Meredith? You get your wish.
Yeah,
she gets her wish, but we don't know how it's going to unfold,
Yeah.
but she was just looking for, that just goes to show, like, just in life in general, like, when we're just trying to, like, look for problems, they'll be discovered.
Yeah. I'm excited to see where they go with this.
Me too, absolutely.
I'm also excited to see who's going to be playing Megan. Like the actress that's going to be playing Megan. I don't know if they've announced it yet. Maybe our people in our chat can let us know if they've heard any rumors.
Yes, is there rumors?
But I'm really excited to see who's going to be playing Megan. On to our next topic.
Yes.
There was a lot of weird... I don't know if anybody in the chat or if my beautiful panel feels the same way about this, but Alex and Finding Joe's husband
was so creepy.
Wasn't it a little weird?
He looked like the creep in this situation in a way. I know it was just creepy. It was too much.
I was
like,
annoyed
what is
with
it?
the dream
The dream sequence was so annoying. I think this is like our entire panel can definitely agree with this.
Both times, like when he got
I was just like, no, he did not just unload on him. And
we were so
I didn't fall for it the second time. I fell for it the first time though.
I fell for it both times. I was
in my notes like, and Alex is another dream sequence.
Right. Another dream sequence. Yes. Cross it out. Cross it out. What I did catch, I don't know if you guys caught it or anybody in our chat caught it, but in one of the dream sequences when he first introduces himself, he introduces himself as Alex Stevens, which was Izzy's last name. I don't know if you guys caught that.
No, I didn't caught that.
I caught that he, gave a fake last name, but I didn't pick up on it being Izzy's last name.
I loved. Obviously, they were married.
Yeah, I saw Steven Suvin just mentioned that. It's like, you
someone
said
else. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name, but someone else mentioned that, like the throwbacks to Teddy and Izzy. So that's what they meant by that.
Yeah, I did love the little homages. I'm surprised Shonda actually even gave an homage to, Katherine Heigl's character.
Yes, of course.
Isabel Stevens, because that whole drama.
Right. Yes.
But yes,
let's not even go there right now.
No, we can't. We have too much stuff to talk about.
Way too much stuff to talk about.
Way too much.
Yes, I was tired of the dream sequences, but I thought the entire situation, with even out the dream sequences, the way that he found him, why are you there? What are you doing there?
Because you're creepy. He obviously called a PI and figured out all the situation. But it is really creepy that he would do that. I was just... it just goes to show that Joe attracts crazy.
Yeah.
And Karev is a little cray-cray. That was a little crazy. I don't know if it was like out of protection or... Because he's just, we already saw what he did the first time he was doing something out of protection. So it's almost like to the deep end, in my opinion of it. I just thought it was a little bit too much.
Yeah. I was trying to see if I could find out who's going to play Megan, but no.
Well, speaking of characters playing characters, Matthew Morrison from Glee is playing Joe's husband.
Yes, Mr.
He looks great.
He does. He looks great. Very good.
He's playing Dr. Paul Stadler. I didn't know he was a doctor, so this makes it really interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know he was a doctor.
I thought like they mentioned it in the past that he was a doctor.
Maybe I might have missed it.
Probably missed it too, because it's like,
But he's not only a doctor, he's a student of Johns Hopkins. He's getting an award for his fiber optics.
He's a great doctor.
Yeah,
so he's not just some random doctor.
Right, he's a well-known doctor. He's coming up. Do we think that he has the power to change? Do we think that anybody in that situation can change?
Not when you're beating up somebody like that.
And not when it hasn't been brought to your attention or you've had any consequences for your actions. So you're going to just continue to be the way you are.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where that goes. I feel like they didn't give us any kind of closure to that.
No, there's no closure. Yeah, but something's got to give with that. Even if it's a discussion that needs to be made, why are you there? Why did you go there?
Yeah.
Like why weren't you at the hospital when this was all going on? Why is he even allowed vacation?
Yeah.
Like, what was he doing?
Right, and Meredith knew where he was, and she's like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
she's even questioning him, like,
well,
why are you even there? What are you doing?
Because don't you think that Alex going to find him only puts Joe at further risk? Like, she's done all of this stuff to protect herself and to hide, and now he's kind of blowing up her spot. What do you guys think?
I think so. Just like the last dream sequence he had, then it's like, he approached him about, I know Joe and blah, blah, blah. And then,
Brooke.
Right. And then it goes to the doctor. What was his name again?
Paul Stadler.
So it goes back to Paul finding her in the apartment.
Killing her and saying thank you.
And I think that is in Alex's mind. So maybe that's why he's kind of taking it slow with his approach to really letting him know who he is. But he's putting Joe on the line right now.
I feel like that connection. Stadler knew something, like the way he looked at him in the cab. He's like, wait a second, why is this guy being stalkerish?
I agree, and that's the only reason why I think he's only going to make it worse for Joe, because this guy could easily go back and figure out who this person was. I mean, maybe it might be a little difficult because he doesn't know his name.
Yeah.
But technology nowadays is like you could look up facial recognition. He could hire his own PI.
Right.
Like, there's millions of ways.
Well, you would have to take a picture of him. So many different things would have had to happen in order for that. I don't know.
Okay, so they got me confusing the dream sequence with the real stuff. Okay, so
Because she's like, you had a pregnant pause there. You were like, wait a second.
Right. But this was still some kind of conference for a doctor, so maybe Karev is registered somewhere for going to this event, so the guy could, double back and find him.
Yeah, I don't see where it's going. I'm very curious to see where that goes, because it's like it seemed kind of flat to me.
Yeah,
I think they're waiting.
It's not even worth it.
I think they're waiting until next week to really. I think it's going go between the whole blow up at the hospital and.
Well, hopefully Statler isn't coming back to punch anybody.
I mean, he's going to show up at Grace Sloan doing something.
Yeah, he has to come back. They're not going to just
not at all.
Yeah. But it was just so awkward.
But speaking of which, they did the same thing with Jackson's dad, though. Like they introduced his character, and he hasn't been back yet. So
that's true. They might just
cut it off for a little while. I don't know. But
that was Eric Roberts. So Eric Roberts there's a good chance that he may be back.
He might come back later.
I just don't like it when they wait too long. You know what I mean?
True.
But like diehard fans like us, we won't forget it.
No, but I just think it's a little much if they had Joe's husband come with all this stuff going on right now. So I think they're going to save it till next season. But,
it's a lot going on. So
everybody in the chat, thank you so much. Everybody's shouting out Bridget Regan is going to be
Megan.
Who's going to be playing Megan because she played her in season 13, episode 9, with the flashback. Hopefully they keep the same actress. I don't know if they will. You know, they always, if there's conflicting issues with actors, I don't know. But thank you guys for that. You guys always keep us on our toes. Let's talk about the cases really quick.
Wow. So that rape case, well, first we thought it was a lover's case.
Yes, a lover's case. Woman comes into, two people come into the OR.
Pants off, shirt off.
Well, one girl was naked. The girl was naked, and then they showed the guy, and he had like a shirt on.
She had completely naked.
She had a bra, but she had no clothes on. But he had like a shirt and stuff on, which was my first red flag.
Okay. Because you did call it, and I was like,
I was like, something's off. I was like, something's not right. And then she's coughing up blood.
I was thinking, did somebody push them off the ledge? Like, did somebody ram them? Like somebody, a crazy ex-boyfriend or something? But it was kind of weird. That was one of my theories when I was wondering what was happening. I was like, what is going on? Like somebody stalking them and then doing it, but...
Obviously, that wasn't the case.
No, it wasn't the case at all.
Allison turns out to, be, she's coughing up blood. She has a head lack. She goes into surgery. Meanwhile, Keith, who's being attended by Edwards, has a head lack and a liver lack, and he's awake. Now, another red flag, and I don't know if anybody in the chat caught this, she was asking for him. He was asking for her, which is obvious when a loved one or anybody is in an accident with you. All you want to do is make sure that they're okay. But didn't you guys feel like something was off the way that they were asking about each other?
It was definitely a different energy.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now look, skating back around it. It was different energies around it.
Like he was a little too eager.
She seemed a little panicked.
And I know you care.
And she seems panicked.
Yeah. And I know when you care for a loved one, it's like you're that protector. He's like, I want her to see my face first so she knows she's okay. But it was just a bit much though. Like now it's into being possessive instead of protective.
Right.
So it got weird.
It was possessive, and I was wondering if if I was thinking this way because now that we know the answer, now I'm skating back and wondering. I was like, oh, he was really after her, like, is she almost like a demonic. He was very demonic, the guy who played this role.
Yeah, well, that's another thing that I wanted to bring up with you guys is that so he was going after Allison because he wanted Stephanie to bring him to Allison. But then she wakes up, and while he's in the wheelchair, the security guards run by him. And that's when he switched tactics. So do we think that he was going after Allison to kill her? To shut her up for good?
Yeah, I think so. Because he already had the scalpel with him.
That's right.
Why do you already have that if your intentions were just to go there and see what's going on?
Oh, he's scary.
And then he's
a very scary man.
Yeah. So Allison wakes up. She tells Jackson and Bailey that this person tried to rape her.
She said she wants him dead. She hopes he's dead.
She fought, you guys. She's
like, you're not raping me. You don't have to kill me dead.
Right. And she won.
I mean,
she won. She's alive. And then Bailey goes and locks down the hospital with a code orange, which is, I did a little bit of research. A code orange is when there is a bomb threat, a radioactive spill, a person who is a potentially violent person with mental issues, you need force is needed to diffuse the situation, or an external disaster with mass casualties. So Code Orange covers all of that. What I thought was funny was that Grey's Anatomy has covered like 3 out of those 4 scenarios so far. So they've gone into a code orange like 3 out of those 4 times. All they need is a radioactive spill.
Right. Exactly. Matthew Nicholson, he's a fan. He's on every week. But he mentioned, do we think we blame Jackson for leaving Stephanie alone? And I don't blame Jackson. How are we to know that this guy... to them, like, you're innocent until proven guilty. There's no way they could have guessed. They were making assumptions. They didn't know anything.
Right.
They didn't know anything about what. So Matthew, my opinion, no, I don't think we can blame Jackson. I think Jackson will probably feel guilty as a result, though, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they addressed that in the episode when Jackson was talking to, I believe it was Bailey, about.
No, I thought, was he talking to Maggie?
Maggie, thank you.
He was speaking to Maggie.
About feeling guilty because he left her alone with him. But in those types of situations, right?
You can't tell, but I mean, it's again questioning Stephanie's judgment. Like I'm going against rules. That's the reason why rules are intact. Like it was not only for his safety because he had a liver abrasion or whatever it was. Like he was hurt. Like they say he needs to be down for 24 hours. But I question her. Maybe she should have stayed in counseling for a minute. Like like hindsight's always 20/20. But maybe she needed counseling to like be able to discern. Remember, Minnick kept warning, and this is going to circle back to Weber. I just literally drew a circle, but this is going to circle back to Weber because it's questioning Weber's judgment. Now, Minnick said that she's either hot, Stephanie's either hot or cold, and so this is another situation where she was being more loving and gentle, and then she goes crazy sometimes. You know,
I disagree with you, Bobo. I call her name is Shannon, but I call her Bobo.
Shannon Bobo. You call me Bobo.
I call her Bobo. I disagree with you. I think that in this case, Stephanie was neither hot nor cold. She was just taking care of her patient.
Yeah, except you see what I mean? Like she just.
But I think she wasn't supposed to take him.
That's what I was going to say.
Now it's
that part,
you know.
But I was questioning her judgment. Like I think it's bad judgment.
I agree
and she's
with you.
making and that's the reason why she needed to be in counseling. So this would be a win for Minnick, and if we're playing winners and losers.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Weber, it wasn't the right decision to let her come back. She needs real, true counseling because this isn't the
Yeah,
so we'll see though. We'll see what happens in the future. Hopefully, it doesn't cost Stephanie her life. So if somebody mentioned Jackson feeling guilty, I'm like, how about circling back and wondering if Weber will feel guilty?
That's a very good point. I want to talk about the second case really quick. Not that it was a big case, the baby choking, but I want to talk about the sister of the baby choking because I love how they did that. It wasn't directly inferred with the actual case, but it was the baby sister the older sister who kept wandering off.
Yeah,
which I thought was really weird because I'm like, you're in a hospital, you have 2 parents.
She was a little creepy little thing.
Your parents are there, like.
Why does this kid keep getting like?
I think they were just so
away.
They almost lost their little girl, and that's probably incredibly traumatic.
That doesn't mean ignore the other one.
Well, that's what happens when you have a little sister, Jennifer Bobo.
She shouted her sister and everything.
I got forgotten about. So your attention is on a baby, like the baby, So I understand what was that happened, but it's careless. Like you can tell the parents are already careless. What was the baby doing, choking on a penny in the first place? Like so they're clearly, you could tell this isn't new for this family.
Yeah.
The little girl's running off, the baby's choking on a penny, all types of things are happening.
They have a nanny, and if the nanny's not around, they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Pretty much.
So the only reason I wanted to bring that up is because the 2 cases kind of clash together in this corridor, which Stephanie.
And we haven't seen that happen since the episode where the heart. The heart situation.
Yes.
When the old lady was like, "No, I want my heart. Give me my heart. I don't care. I still got 20 more years in me."
I love when they interlope the cases. I think that was beautiful. Cool. But in this case, it wasn't really
the way we wanted it to be.
Yeah, because it was really morbid. Because Stephanie was only looking out for this little girl who was in the wrong place at the wrong time
because her parents weren't looking after her.
Thank you for shouting that out, Shannon. And then this guy, was anybody thinking that this man, Keith, was going to turn on the little girl?
I was hoping.
Go directly
I knew
after
in my
her.
heart that his strength wasn't there to rape her because I was. Oh, that sounds so terrible.
I know,
but
he's
a terrible person. Like people who hurt other people. That's what they're thinking. Because for a second he did look at her like that. His innate. It's almost like I think he's missing people who do things like that to other people. I feel like they're missing something or they have like some sort of like twisted. He was very twisted because he did look at the little girl like that at first. And Stephanie was like,
I didn't think he was gonna go like after her right away, but definitely use her to get out and then possibly do whatever with her once,
well,
that he is out if he were to get out.
Speaking of getting out, so they're locked in this room, and Stephanie tells him the only way for them to get out is if security lifts the code orange, or if there's like a fire or something.
When she said that, I was like, Stephanie, shut up, Miss Know-It-All. Because it's like, come on, Stephanie, please save your life. Like, and then she's like, oh no. And then she realized what she said. It was like a case of bad decision after bad decision. Because I sometimes feel like Stephanie is her brain is somewhere else sometimes. And I think it circles back to what Minnick was saying. Like, she's not always there.
Right, but at the same time, I mean, if we're going to give her a little leeway, it would be in a scenario where she is being held hostage with a scalpel and this man. She's trying to look out for...
You're thinking clearly.
Yeah, but
she's not thinking clearly. Because I don't know what I would do in that situation.
Exactly. Right. Well,
that's extreme.
I was going to ask you guys, how would you handle that type of situation?
I'm
being
so
held
grateful.
hostage?
I will never... I don't, the chances of us we have a better chance of dying in a car accident. That's so morbid. But we do. We have a better than being held hostage. So, I mean, like, granted that will never happen. I have no idea how I would handle it.
Would you fight or would you surrender and just let him?
I would surrender.
I think I would try to fight. You know what I mean? Yeah. We'd never know until we are in that situation, because while I'm watching, like I said earlier, I thought, when he was playing with the fire, trying to get the thing to light, I thought she was going to grab that, and he was going to turn around, and she was just right on the neck. Because those things are sharp, and that's all you have to do very quickly.
Warren Robinson mentioned this earlier, grab the scalpel. I was thinking the same thing, grab the scalpel. But however, if being taken hostage, I probably would acquiesce. Raping, we going to have to die together. I would have taken the same approach as Allison, but I was wondering the same thing. Why didn't he just, why did she grab the scalpel? She could have just and hurt his wound even more. Because that would have stopped him.
Yeah, when he was reaching up to do the thing, I thought there was going to be like a knife right here, just cut down.
But since you mentioned that, she's a doctor. It was his liver.
Yes.
You're a doctor. You know what the liver is.
You could
just go straight for it. You know what I mean?
Call it self-defense. Right. She would have totally gotten off of jail. Like, she wouldn't have gone to jail because that's self-defense.
Right. Because I think setting fire to him in the same hallway that you're in, he could have easily ran at you guys while he was on fire.
Yeah.
It just causes more of a threat to you and this child that you're with, rather than just slitting his throat.
And then, because he went in that room with the oxygen, you knew that oxygen and everything was already there. So to me, that wasn't smart to set him on fire. Like, it's right there.
I mean,
it's right there. But once again,
man, because you guys that's the way, when we first watched it, you guys were all excited, like, that was the best episode ever. And all I kept thinking is, oh man, Stephanie. Like, I was just kind of mad at her.
Well, I mean, Stephanie pulled a waiting to exhale moment, and she set fire to this man, and then set fire to the whole building.
Right.
Yeah. But I loved her courageous moment in the end when she tried to... I think she was really looking out for this little girl rather than herself.
Yes, in that moment.
Because she could have easily went into the corner and cowered with this little girl. Yeah. But I think she was trying to save the entire hospital and the other patients that she was thinking of when she was trying to go after him. And obviously that backfired, no pun intended.
And we don't know if she survived or not. We have no idea. But
so we don't know that.
So
it seems like that's something...
You wouldn't be really a miracle.
Survive, but also I was thinking, like, take off your coat, because when people are on fire, they take a blanket or something to kind of get the fire out. Like I said, she didn't even get that close to him, but that's still what I was thinking first. Take off your jacket and try to put that fire out.
I think that's initially what
I think she was trying to, like, jump on him. I think that's
I don't think she was trying to jump on him. I just think she was trying to put the fire out.
But how? She was just running towards him.
I don't know. I have no idea. Guys in the chat, let us know.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to mention this.
Dream Aspire just made a point too about they should have had a code word.
But that same person, Dream to Aspire mentioned, like, do we think they're gonna kind of do like a comparison with I just
George.
Lost it. Thank you.
I got you.
Thank you. With George, the same way they kind of killed George off. Like, will they do that kind of with Stephanie? Meaning she may be unrecognizable, and then they may not know it's her right away.
Yeah.
You'll have to figure it out that it's her.
I was thinking the same thing. I mean, nothing can beat George and that whole Izzy George elevator scene. But this would come pretty close. But at the same time, who else could be in that room at that moment with this guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the little girl was there. We don't know if she's going to live through this either. But if she does, she could easily be like, I was with this, this doctor who she said her name is Stephanie. So there's other ways to identify her. I don't think it's going to be as dramatic as George, but it's
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
It's going to be dramatic, but I don't think nothing can touch that.
But
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, I think that's a great idea for them to have code words. as she was walking by, they could have just resolved everything.
I was thinking about that too. Like something she could have said
Dream to
as
Inspire
a
said
distress
that
thing.
too.
Yes, when she was talking to what's his name, Warren, and she was like, "Oh yeah, Dr. Minnick's orders." She could have easily said Dr. Orange or like just something, Doctor something. I don't know. That was the initial thing that I got, Dr. Orange, and then he could have correlated Orange. That's weird. No, Dr. Orange.
I wonder if their policies will change after this, because you would think they would have something. Like Grey's Anatomy. Grace Sloan is so prone to drama. They should have code words
now. They
all types of things. Like so much is taking place,
and people shooters
and people died and leg cut off. All types of stuff happening. So you would think, ooh.
Yeah, Chelsea M, who was in my chat for Survivor. Chelsea M, I remember you, Beb. Said hospitals are actually supposed to get more code colors, and they do. They have code purples and code blues.
They call the code black ones on the show.
Right, yes. Yeah. So they do have other code colors, but they definitely need code words between code workers.
Words.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Especially if you're prone to drama like Grace Sloan Hospital.
Definitely.
Yeah. One thing that I do want to kind of shout out is I just remember watching Lifetime, and these shows on Lifetime. You guys, I'm just a nerd. But they always say if you're ever taken hostage, don't let them take you to another location because your chances of survival decrease by 80%. So I'm surprised that Stephanie, who's being this strong, independent woman, would even let him get that far. Even in the stairwell, I would. You're surrounded by doctors. At least put up a fight, even in front of Warren. You might have gotten stabbed, but at least you could have taken him out with Warren there, and then you could have been rushed to the whatever, and then.
And she could have
right.
Yeah.
Instead of being and it's obviously Grey's, it's obviously TV show. We have to
make allowance.
But that's just what I was thinking.
Because at the first I was thinking that as well, but I'm like, well, he has that scalpel right to her neck, and like we said before, those things are extremely sharp.
Well, this is when she was going with
that's what I mean.
Warren,
that's what I mean. When I had that thought within, she should do, but I was like, no, because all he has to do is swipe, and she's gone. But yes, then once she ran into Warren, it's like she could have done something there. Yes, you may have gotten injured, but it may not have been life threatening.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We talked about, and Shannon, you brought this up, how guilty Weber is going to feel for signing this paper. But somebody had said in the chat, Sahara Joy said that Minnick is a terrible supervisor. And I'm going to have to agree. I do like Minnick as a character, but I do think that she's a terrible supervisor because she is never anywhere to be found in these kinds of situations. Do you guys notice that?
Well, that's not her. That's the writer's fault. I don't know.
That's true.
But I'm skating back to that, and also I do agree with this. Minnick should have said, no, you go to counseling now. She could have said that too.
But how do we think that Minnick is going to react now? Yes, we do think that Weber is going to feel guilty, but do we think Minnick's going to feel guilty? And if she does, are they giving him a show on the show?
Right. I don't think she's going to feel guilty. I think she's going to use that to go against Weber even more now. We finally got them. Yeah, we finally got them to a I don't want to say happy place, but kind of where they're comfortable and they can work together. Yeah. But now I think they may revert back to kind of the beginning. I think.
Yeah.
That could be for next season so that she can stick around.
I think it would be just too devastating to blame Weber. You know what I mean? He'll already. There's no point in punishing him if something. Well, we don't even know what's happening.
But I feel like Minnick is possibly a little petty. And I think she would go there. I do. I think she'll
be a little bit more calm. She's getting laid now with Arizona. You saw them coupling up. Somebody mentioned earlier in the chat that so it was old school Grays where everybody's booed up and sexing the morning after bliss.
I do.
Come meet my babies and Meredith and
I do
smiling.
agree with that on some levels. I just don't think that they have the chemistry that the old boo things that used to carry out. You know what I mean?
You don't think Riggs and Gray? They have good chemistry,
but now look,
but it wasn't
Megan's
that strong.
back.
Yeah, Megan's. Well, before we knew that, but it was it was just reminiscent to the viewer before of the old school Grays where everybody was kind of sexy. It was back to the sexiness, and then we got back to the drama. Yeah. This episode was definitely old school Grays. It was
drama-wise.
Good for them for season 13, still bringing it.
Yeah.
Still bringing it. Was very creative. This was well written tonight. I'm very happy about this new.
I agree. Camille in the chat said Jackson will feel the worst because don't forget Jackson and Stephanie had a thing, and he left Edwards for April.
Yeah.
How do we think it's going to affect Jackson?
Well, I think he already feels guilty about leaving her there. And I agree, he is going to feel bad.
Yeah, because I felt like the look in his eyes was also that, like, there was a deeper relationship here. Like, I was with this woman, you know what I mean? And now I felt responsible for hurting her before in the past, and now I feel responsible for hurting her again in this sense, you know, or putting her in a situation where she could be hurt.
But we don't know if she's dead. We still don't know.
Well, speaking of that, this explosion was pretty big. Do you guys think that anybody else got injured in this explosion?
Possibly.
It's been a long time since we've had a good, juicy like season finale, and I think that someone else is going to get hurt. I'm glad that for once Meredith wasn't in the building. I was like, oh, look at that.
But Meredith's about to get broke. She's about to get broken hearted in a minute.
Oh, with the whole Megan thing. But who do you guys think it could be? Besides Stephanie, obviously, because we know she was in the room. But who this explosion was just so big that it obviously, you know, it affected other floors. Who else do you think could have been affected?
Ooh, Minnick.
Well, that would solve the whole Weber problem if it is.
Yeah, I don't really think so though. But I don't know.
I don't know. We didn't see Minnick or Arizona. I'm trying to think of who we didn't see in the previews.
I was thinking Bailey.
No, Bailey was in the previews though.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of everybody.
At what point though? At what point? What did Bailey say in the preview?
She said, I don't remember exactly, but she just said, "Where is she?" or something like that. I remember seeing Bailey in the previews. I could be completely off because last week I thought the white guy was the dad from last week that Edwards, and I was like, somebody corrected me in our chat. You guys, please feel free to comment below because we definitely, I read them. I stay up at night. I'm like, what y'all seeing right now?
But with Bailey, it still could have been a point to where the explosion maybe hadn't happened yet, and they were still kind of looking for her. They may backtrack a little bit. And
maybe.
So,
that's what Grace has been doing a lot. Yeah. Look at her trying to make herself right. Go ahead,
Lynneisha.
girl. Lynneisha's like, but I could be right. Look at me. You know how they usually do there.
Yeah.
Who do we want it to be? Dun dun dun.
I mean, I love when Grace puts these characters in danger because, like Matthew Nicholson said, you know, Joe has a very special relationship with Stephanie as well, and when Grace focuses on, you know, putting a character in danger, we literally have to break down all the relationships that are going to be affected by this. You know, Warren will be affected because he had this rivalry with her, this friendly rivalry. Yeah. Joe is her best friend. Jackson used to date her. You know, Weber feels like a mentor to her. Like, there's all of these relationships that you have to now break down.
And Weber was like a dad to her.
Yeah.
Really, he was very sensitive to her. I mean, they become family. They spend so much time with each other. They have so many dramatic experiences. They end up sleeping together. It's like a whole incestuous, we love each other love fest in Grace Hospital, you know? So it's a lot to consider with all of that said. And so it's like, does Minnick really want, I don't even know if Minnick is going to be so upset at first because it's going to be so much drama and so much trauma happening as a result, you said?
Yeah. I mean, we have a lot to look forward to in the finale.
Yes, we do.
I'm really excited to see where this show can go.
Yes, it can go so many places.
Episode 24 next week, you guys will be the finale.
It's the finale.
And then we're on a break, but we're not going to talk about that now.
All four of us are going to do our best to be here because we have to have each other.
Yes.
We are missing you, Kelly, right now.
Yes, we do miss you, Kelly. And I feel like we're definitely going to need each other next week.
Yeah, we're going to need each other. It's going to be some stuff.
Because the end of this episode literally gave me chills and goosebumps.
I know. So I can't even imagine what the finale
I'm
going to
need
like.
Support.
Yes. Yeah. We're going to have to be supporting. We're going to need your guys.
We have to go for a drink after this.
Right. We're going to need your support, you guys, for the finale.
Definitely.
Thank you, everybody in the chat, for tuning in tonight.
It was so exciting.
Yes, you guys were on fire. We loved you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
In the meantime, tell them where they can find you guys.
Oh, wait, we're not going to get into predictions?
Did you want to do predictions?
Yeah, let's do predictions.
Okay, let's do predictions, you guys.
Predictions. I'm like, sorry, boo. Like, how we think this is going to end?
Oh, gosh. I felt like we did so many predictions already.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking now I just got a little bit more about Bailey. So, she's like in charge now. So what if she lifted, because Stephanie mentioned like, unless, security lifts it, blah, blah, blah. So what if Bailey went with the security guard, you know what I mean, for them to open, because they are roaming the hospital, the security is, so maybe she could have went with them. So maybe it could be police officers and Bailey that might have, if we...
You're still trying to make yourself right on that.
I am, but I thought about like a new way to do it, like, it could go that way.
I completely agree with you. The only reason I brought up Bailey is because nothing traumatic has happened to her in a while.
Let's
I'm
do
like, something needs to happen here.
I definitely don't want Bailey to die.
I don't want her to die, but something needs, you know what I mean?
I agree with you.
We know each other on the same
page. I think like that's how it could happen.
Okay. Shannon,
right.
what are some predictions for you, Boo?
Well, predictions for me, I think it's the Megan and Nathan. That's gonna be a thing. Mm-hmm. I think Ray is gonna step back and just allow the space for that to happen. And I'm glad that it happened before he actually met the kids, because that's so weird.
Yeah,
and it's just like, you know. And then Amelia and Owen, I just think that's kind of like she's gonna be there to comfort him through this, and it may actually bring them together. I know everybody said he doesn't want a baby, blah blah blah, but I think this will draw them back together in a way. And then Stephanie, you guys, I hate to say this, but I think Stephanie's gone. I think that's it with Stephanie. And I do think the opposite. I think Bailey is still with us, and I don't think she got hurt, but I do believe somebody else has got to have gotten hurt in a situation.
Somebody.
But my guess is Warren, actually. I think Warren may have kind of go after
Bailey
her
too,
and do that, but that would affect Bailey.
Yeah.
So
Well.
and then the Joel's husband thing, Paul Sadler, I think he's gonna, because he's too crazy to not try to circle back and do something. So those are all my predictions. And clearly the rapist is dead, so I'm happy about that.
I want to piggyback on Sadler. I think that he's going to come back. We'll see him again next episode for the finale, and I think it'll be a cliffhanger of him finding out about Jo and where she is. They won't see each other in that moment, but the cliffhanger I think will be that he has found her.
See, I think one of my cliffhangers, and I think Shannon pretty much picked up on all of our predictions. That was amazing. But I think one of my predictions is that Stephanie is not going to be immediately dead. I feel like she's going to be severely burned, and then Jackson, being the head of plastics, is going to feel so guilty, and he's going to have to be the one to work on her and try to save her life and
deep.
her look. Yeah.
So, and then it'll be a brand new Stephanie, but another woman, another actress.
I don't know. I don't think
SAG after hire another actress.
I don't think she's going to make it through this, you guys. I do think that they're going to maybe extend it a little bit.
Yeah, like she's going to be fighting for her life.
Got it.
Yeah, but I guess we will see.
Yeah,
we'll see next week.
I think she's gone though. Well, we'll see.
We'll see. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in. We want to hear your predictions throughout the week. Leave us your comments on our YouTube page. We do read them. We love them. And we love interacting with you guys, like I said in the beginning of the episode. Let them know where they can find you guys.
Yes, thanks guys for watching. I can't wait till next week. I'm Shannon Bobo. You can find me everywhere at Shannon Bobo.
And you guys can find me at Instagram and Twitter at Lynneisha_33.
Thank you guys for tuning in. I am Timothy Michael. You can find me at all social media platforms at I am Timothy Mike. I got you. I don't know. I'm all tongue-tied. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. Have a good night.
We'll be able to talk next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.